trying to destroy the legacy of the government led by Christie. They have imperiled the economy of the Bahamas and the livelihoods of thousands of Bahamians. Whatever one wants to say about James Smith, our Minister of State for Finance, every Bahamian would know he is an accomplished economist in this country. And James Smith approved, and with the recommendations of ministers, approved and put in place, and we went to bid and awarded over $80 million of contracts. I can't blame the FNM for the subprime crisis. I don't even blame them for the necessity of the Americans to do a $700 billion bailout. But what I can blame them for is through pettiness, not recognizing that the $80 million plus that we had in motion contracts legally and legitimately awarded ought then to have been awarded when they came to power. It would have, in some ways, insulated many Bahamians against the impact of the recessionary winds coming in, the slowing down of the economy, and it would have put them to work, because the problem with the Bahamas will be jobs, 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 jobs. And we were doing it, and they stopped it, and now they're trying to catch up.
They can never catch up.
The FNM's response would be that the global credit crisis would have negatively affected these projects even if they had started. We do not know that the case, and of course you heard O.B. Wilshire speak in great detail of how Hubert Ingram and his government at the time, and in opposition, when Lyndon Pendling was articulating to the Bahamas the impact of the crisis in the around 89, 90, where they said, no, it's just bad government, it's negligence on the part of the PLP, it's this on the part of the PLP. But now, this is the same situation. And the same standards could apply. Don't tell me about the Americans, don't tell me about the Europeans, don't tell me about the Asians. You are now the governor of the Bahamas, and you are responsible. But you know, we haven't even taken that position, because it is not the right position. We believe in this country that we should offer solutions to Ingram and his government, because the people of the country, their livelihood is now at stake. You see, in the event when someone would have started a project, they would have likely found a way to finish it and make the investment work. For example, if Bahama and Albany had not taken 9 months to come to fruition, they would have started, they would have mobilized. And once you mobilize, as Albany did, you would find that they may slow down, but the financing had already been committed. The contracts that we gave to Bahamians were even stopped, slowed down, and some of them have now been given out just recently. It is easier to walk away when having had obstacles put in their way prevented them from even getting started. Furthermore, had these projects been allowed to proceed unimpeded, thousands of Bahamians would have been already put to work. In addition, the cancellation of properly, legally, and transparently negotiated and awarded public work contracts not only denied employment to many scores of Bahamians, it severely undermined the universally held confidence that with the government, a deal is a deal. The damage done by this reckless policy is immeasurable. Young Bahamians deserve to have the hope that there is a place in the Bahamas for them, that the Bahamian dream is attainable for the many and not just the few. There is far too much despondency and hopelessness and cynicism amongst our young people. This is not healthy for our nation. It is becoming clearer by the day that the FNM is out of their depth. The Bahamas of 2008 is different from the Bahamas of 1992 or even 2002. Bahamians require innovative solutions to the challenges that face them. That is why governments are elected. Unfortunately, for all of us, in the middle of the storm, in treacherous seas, with shoals all around. The captain is asleep at the wheel, and the crew says, "Where you put me?" In times such as these, expenditure in a country becomes key. Expenditure, for example, comes from direct foreign investment. But we know there is a major problem there. Direct foreigners coming in through their investment, spending money, helps an economy to thrive, creates jobs. We know that in an economy that needs recovery, personal expenditure, stimulating the economy for Bahamians who are working to spend is also another strategy that a government should commit itself to. But we know now, because of the uncertainty that is taking place, advisedly, Bahamians have to be very careful. If they have discretionary money, what they do with it, because that's just the reality. However, in these times specifically, the third element to get an economy going is government expenditure. The government of the Bahamas must accelerate its capital projects program. It must use committed funds to put into the economy now on an accelerated basis so as to have money going into the economy to give some people jobs and to have the flow moving through. That is a fundamental necessity for this government, and most certainly this government must in fact understand that. But this is the required action that I would recommend. For the government to recognize how important it is to have the collective brain power as selected by people who are in such category and possessed with such talent, coming together. The convening of a high-level council of economic advisors to examine the impact of the global financial crisis on the Bahamas, to advise the government and to keep the public informed. Their mission would also be to develop policy responses that could be implemented rapidly as needed. For example, even though the Minister of Tourism says maybe in 6 months to 1 year, the economy would revive. Last night we heard economists in the United States of America saying, yes, the reduction in the interest rate put in place by the United States, by Britain, Switzerland, China, all of these economic giants that impact our country may take 6 months to 18 months to have an impact. So now, let's take that. Suppose the tourism does not revive as we expected, and it goes down by 10, 15%. What is the Bahamas to do? Well, you don't wait till that happens to think it through. Right now, the brains put together in a room ought to be thinking through what planning should be put in place to take care of all of the exigencies, all of the occurrences that could take place in this country, and not sit down and just wait for it to happen.